Hello Jazzy, today is Tuesday and it's about close to 6 p.m. and I am cooking dinner because my mother is really sick. So sick that I can't be a whiny little bitch and said I don't want to cook. There's a few problems. I don't usually cook, so I'm pretty pathetic at it. I can't cook without music, so if I want to film something I would have to turn off my music and turn on my camera app, film myself, and then turn it off and turn on Spotify again. Now, you would think, Hannah, you're really bad at cooking, so maybe you should really focus on doing one job at a time. And you're probably right, but who am I if not to make my life a little bit harder? So, here we go. I am making boiled pork and morning glory. According to my mother's instruction, is to wait for that water to boil, pour it on the pork for about half a minute so it sizzles, and then boil it in cold water for 10 minutes. I will find out, and I'll show you other stuff along the way. Just a few problems today. I am also incredibly sick. Not as sick as my grandmother and my mother, because apparently my entire family decides to come down with the flu. Guess it's contagious. So I can't really talk very well. And I just dropped the pork. First mistake. Anyway, or did I not set a timer for 30 seconds? Because I was so scared that I would mess it up and not put the boiling water on the pork for half a minute and then proceed to panic for said 30 seconds, because I'm not entirely sure half a minute is half of 60 seconds. I will leave that to you to decide. Again, I did excuse myself at the start by saying that I am very sick. Alright Jazz, a little update on the cooking. I have now put the pork in cold water to boil, and the instruction by Mama Tina was that I am supposed to put it in cold water until at 6, so that's like a medium heat in electric stove. And then once it's boiled, I'll put it down to a lower number for it to simmer. While I wait for it to boil, I am now doing morning glory. Did I need to use a bowl this big for this amount of morning glory? No, it's another mistake made by yours truly, Hannah. And while I'm doing that, you can judge me on my technique. I will tell you a few things about what's going on in life. One of them is, why am I sick? And who in my family got sick? So, the reason why I got sick, and most people said it's because of the poor air quality. It is poor, but honestly, I'm gonna tell you this. After a few weeks, I sort of got used to it. My skin didn't, I keep getting pimples, but I just feel like that's not good enough to make me sick, you know? It's the cold. It's the winter here in Hanoi, and it's not like Australian rainy and windy, miserable kind of winter, and it's not even like the Nordic winter where it's like you're fighting a war. It's like Nosferatu, Dracula kind of winter. It like gloomy. It seeps into your bone. You can feel it, like it's a biting cold. You might wear a jacket and you think that's good enough, because usually if I wear like a rainproof jacket, a windproof, whatever winterproof jacket in Australia, I'm pretty set. But in Vietnam, Hanoi specifically, if you're wearing your jacket and you're walking bare feet, say like me, you will wake up with a sore throat, a headache, and perhaps a little cold. And then you continue to refuse to wear socks and sandals, don't tell Mama Tina, and you're kind of went down with the flu. That is my story. Now, I'm thinking that I can't be cake killer, you know? So I decided to look back into the past to see who was actually the case zero of this flu. And lo and behold, Coco, my favorite cousin, came home a few weeks ago with a nasty flu. He actually went into the hospital to get transferred some water because of how sick he was. Then 2 days later, I was down with a cold because before him it was just a cough. Before him it was just a natural reaction to the Hanoi weather after I have came home from Hue. But after him it got bad. So the conclusion is that Coco is 100% case zero. After me, obviously my mother had to take care of me, so she got it down bad. And because she's in contact with my grandparents, my grandmother is down bad. My aunt, Coco's mother, aunt-in-law, also had a case, and so did my uncle. Only two people who is in this house not currently sick is Shrimp and my grandpa. I just have to say, I am not that surprised. I have to check on the water. Guess what? Miss Hannah did another mistake. I forgot to put the salt in while I was putting the pork to boil. It's boiled now. I've added it afterwards. I don't think it's gonna make a huge difference. It's also not salt because I couldn't find salt, so it's like a form of MSG. Again, not gonna make a huge difference, right? Another update onto my life. It was a disaster day at the driving range today. First of all, because I already woke up kind of sick, so kind of tired. And then while I was on my way to the driving range, I was thinking about, being kicked out of the house by Hien and Haiti, and I was getting kind of frustrated at that. So I started my day with a lot of negativity, and then I went to the driving range. Now, if you don't know what a driving range is, it's basically like a practice place before you took your test, and there's 11 lessons that I have to pass in order to pass this thing. The maximum points is 100 points, and then every time that I do something wrong, I get minus 5 to 10 points. I need at least 80 points to pass, so I can fail up to about 4 times at most. And all the lessons include stopping immediately at an emergency, going uphill, going downhill, making sure your wheels touch a certain point, stopping in the red light at the right distance, blah blah blah, and it keeps going. And there are a few things that if I do wrong, I'm eliminated immediately. The problem with me is I do great on the road. I think I do relatively okay on the road. I'm not the kind of person who drive recklessly, but I am a person who's kind of just All I'm saying is I'm not exactly the most precise person on earth, and this test requires you to be extremely precise. So today, basically, if this was a test, I would have failed horribly. Thank goodness it was only a practice run. My reverse, horrendous. I was moving way too fast. You're supposed to move the car like a snail, 6 kilometers an hour, snail speed. I can't do that, man. I don't know what. My feet just won't allow me. Anyway, I was going way too fast, which means it was harder for me to control the wheel, which also means that I turned way too fast and I kissed the curb way too many times. Then, because I was so anxious to get it done, I tried to overtake one guy and also almost kiss his cars behind. That was the two most disastrous one. By the time I get home, my head was so overloaded and I just wanted it to be done. My morning glory is now done. I shall wash it up and I don't know if I'm gonna boil it or stir fry it yet, so you will get to find out with me. Hello Jazz, not gonna lie, I am famished and also super tired, very lightheaded, kind of fainty, so I'm going to lock in for the next hopefully 10 minutes, but it is the last stretch. Other than that, morning glory frying time. It took me ages to find the oil, so I'm already on like my wits end. So no more talking from me. Have a nice day, Jazzy, and I will see you on Friday. Or knowing your current schedule, maybe on Monday. Mom, what do you think of the dinner I've made?
7 out of 10.
7 out of 10. Another Hannah's mistake. I bought the wrong herbs. And the rice a little bit too soft.